All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call to order the March meeting of the Windsor Township Board of Supervisors. Before we start, I'd like to invite everybody to stand to the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. First item on the agenda, would someone make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 12th meeting of the board?
I just got these minutes. They weren't emailed out earlier, were they?
What's this?
The minutes.
The minutes. I'll make a motion if no one else does.
All right, I'll second it. All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
No, I said I didn't get a chance to review them, just handed to me. So we'll pass them for now, but
All right. Well, if we find anything in it, we'll readjust them next month. All right, public comment. We have no
No signed it.
signatures on public comment. All right, we're gonna move along tonight. Reports and financial status.
Pat. If you have a handout, the last 2 pages in that show where we stand financially as of tonight. The main source of income in the general fund, line item 310.21, $105,000 some dollars for earned income. That again, we say that often, is the main source of income in the general fund. We also get once a year, line item 32.8, cable TV franchise, That is because the cable is owned township right away. We get monies for that, and that is that $830,000 some dollars. And there's one source of income in the state fund at this point. If you go down the line item 355.05, state liquid fuels, the $28,320 is the road turnback money. The main money will come next month as far as the main roads. If you then look at the bottom, total income received as of today, $195,503.59. The last page then shows expenditures. And everything at this point is normal except the one line item. If you go down to 432 snow removal, because of the rock salt shortage, in order for us to have enough of that, you notice that there was a total expenditure for rock salt, $36,166.41.
So it looks like you took part out of the general fund and part out of the liquid
Right,
fuels fund,
right,
right? To
right.
split it.
That's what we did.
Mhm.
Right. And then, well, if we go down to the bottom, we can see then total expenditures in all accounts as of this evening, $162,406. If you then look at the very bottom, showing what we have at this point, the first 3 things are savings accounts that are at Pliget, and those are the numbers as of the end of February. We get the balance sheet for that at the end of the month, so that is not as of today. That was at the end of February. And then the last 2, the checking accounts, we keep just to make it keep it active. Whenever we need money, we just transfer it from savings into checking to keep $100 in the state saving checking account, and then the $112.36 in the general fund. When that gets to that level, once the bills are paid, then I can transfer that electronically to the Pliget account, so it gains interest. Anyone have any questions concerning finances at this point?
And we did wind up paying $150 a ton for salt.
Yes.
Ben, was that
Mhm.
150 a ton?
You got the bill, I don't know.
But
Yeah,
that's what
that's
it
what it
was.
I don't
was.
see the bill. so-
Okay.
You didn't have a choice, but that's what it was.
All right.
And the only other thing, Mr. Chairman, is the auditors have finished their audit, and it's to the point where I have to enter some material electronically on a computer file and file it to the Auditor General's office. But they have completed the audit.
All right. Any comments?
No.
No? All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, engineers and zoning officer, Ms. Stevens.
All right, I give you a packet of information for this evening. I also gave you that we just received very late today the letter from Barlow and Snyder regarding the Kaufman Rush Family Farm Partnership NOV status from the attorney's perspective. So that's just for information. I believe it's on the agenda later on. I believe. Anyway, my packet, the first one you'll have is Ryan Westner's zoning and building report. And he let me know the two zoning items, the car wash conversion to a landscaping business. Zoning hearing board was approved, as well as the Ray Martin Woodland Road apartment complex variance was also approved at this latest zoning hearing. So he reflects that update in his report. It gives you the update on the NOVs. The Hamburg self-storage Edinburgh cost estimate, I just received that cost estimate today, signed and sealed by Luke Camp. And there are actually two Hamburg self-storage projects going on, named the same. Quite confusing for me.
Yeah.
So I had to differentiate. The one that Luke Camp and Josh are doing is Edinburgh off of Old 22. And then the South Schuylkill properties along 61 in Chappelle. That's the large one. So I brought my plans with me in case you have any questions, but the cost estimate is for the small one. So I'll be reviewing that, and that cost estimate opinion will be issued next week. Okay?
Did that all get straightened out between you and Steve as
Yes.
far as that email?
Yes, because
Okay.
he sent South Schuylkill, and I had Edinburgh's cost estimate, and nothing jived. Now it jives, two separate folders, two separate work order numbers, I'm clear.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to bring up, is that there are two separate projects. If you hear Hamburg self-storage, make sure you ask which one, because I didn't, because I only.
Yeah, I was
thought this
confused as well.
Yeah, so it's all straightened out. Edinburgh's the small one, South Schuylkill along 61 large. The PA small water grant update at next month's meeting, I'll have the resolution, the funding commitment letter, because we'll have finished our preliminary design. And the letters already went out to the support for the county planning commissions, state reps, so those are out and about. Hopefully we'll get them back. The due date for that grant is April 30th, so we have time. So, but I'll bring all of that to the next month's meeting, so there'll be a bunch of action items for that. And that is this packet that starts with, we already got one support letter from Senator Gephardt. So that's all the support letters that went out from now, and then we did get one back. So they're responding, which is a good thing. So Jerry, I know you were always interested in trying to reach out to the politicians. So it would be not Gephardt, it'd be your other representative, which is Jamie Burton. Jamie Burton.
So do you have so you're reaching out for funding. What are you proposing to be done there?
That's the one that we talked about last month.
Yes.
It's the riprap shoulder along with a pipe, perforated pipe, and that will carry everything down to the existing culvert where it crosses that low spot on Mountain Road.
So you're asking for $500,000?
No, less than. That's the maximum of the grant. It's not gonna be that much, but we just gave them, it's going to be less than the maximum grant amount.
All right. So
I'm not saying it's 500.
If you make an application, don't you need that cost estimate? I'm confused.
All right, I just said,
Okay,
next month,
okay, next month.
we're
you're gonna
going to
have-
finalize the preliminary
Okay.
design.
Okay.
You'll have a cost of a resolution, a funding commitment letter, all those things will be next month. And so, but the support letters are critical to get out, so you get them back by the deadline of the grant. And so we got one back already. Great. Okay, so
Yep.
next month, as I said, there will be a lot of action items. All right. Do you want to do the H&K update under you, or?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay. All right, so then the next one, very interesting. I think it was Craig that sent me this other letter. It's the PennDOT letter. It was an attached spreadsheet, which I looked at quickly. There's 4 roads in Windsor that they're gonna be doing traffic counts on, because you had reached out as to what does PennDOT do?
They do it every year. They
Right.
do a couple every year.
But this is the current list.
But I don't understand why we had to get you involved with this. Because the email said what roads were gonna be done, and we have no, they're gonna come and count it for us. So why do we need to get the
No,
engineer involved?
what I'm saying is these are the roads they're doing.
Yeah, but that was in the email. All you had to do was open the email up and scroll down to
Right.
Windsor Township, and it says that.
Right.
Because
Right.
the last 3 years, he's been sending them to me. I come to meeting and say, these are the roads we're gonna be doing. We didn't need an engineer involved before.
Okay.
That's,
I'm
I don't
sorry.
understand why this year we needed an engineer to tell us that we're gonna be counting for.
That's what I thought it was. Okay,
You know.
I'm sorry.
Was
And
it just sent,
wasn't-
was the
wasn't
email
much.
sent an errand to Pamela? or
It was
what?
sent to me, or else I didn't,
Okay.
I wouldn't have gotten the letter, so I didn't know.
You know, that's what, when I saw it, it was forwarded out to everybody. It's like, well,
Yeah,
all you had to do is open the email up. It says exactly what roads they were doing.
Yeah, I went through them.
I missed that,
That's-
sorry.
You know, that's my part. We have nothing to say about it. They're just gonna come and count the roads for us.
But I thought your
Yeah.
point was you wanted certain roads counted for your road projects, and this was the whole impetus to say, which ones are they doing?
No, this is just PennDOT's doing their annual yearly
Right, but I
count.
thought we asked Charlie Paris, would they do roads that you were looking at doing?
No,
So
they-
that for the grant, your
These
dirt,
aren't the roads that I was gonna get counted.
yeah, the dirt and gravel, remember you
Yeah.
need the counts, so that's what I thought this whole
They're,
thing was.
they're actually already counted. We're waiting for the numbers. They
For the
counted-
dirt and gravel
They
ones.
counted them last week.
They did do it for you, so this was not, see, I thought
Yeah,
this was
that's-
the one.
That's PennDOT's District 5 count of Berks, Lehigh,
Gotcha.
Schuylkill, all of District
Who
5.
did the current counts for the roads you needed?
LTAP did them.
Oh, they did do
Well,
it?
LTAP did 3 roads, and the Conservation District did 2 roads for
They
us.
did.
So.
Okay, well, now I understand the whole thing.
So, yeah,
Sorry, it was not,
This was just all
it was not
PennDOT.
big.
Yeah, this was your
Yeah.
first time around.
It was
So-
not
so-
clear to me at all. Now I know.
Okay.
Okay, done.
They're done, they're finished with their counting, right?
Yep.
Are they, because it said up to
Well, no,
November
no,
20th.
PennDOT didn't do theirs yet. They're doing theirs between, what, May and November.
Yeah,
What were the strips on
That was,
Mountain Road?
that was LTAP.
Oh, that was LTAP, okay.
So those counts are done for us.
and what
Okay.
was, did you get Mountain Road yet?
No, because they just counted them
Okay.
and stuff, so.
I'd be curious, but I don't think it's gonna be under 500.
Because they did Reitnar, Mountain, Chrisman, and actually all of Balthaser, where this just did
They
the,
did Reservoir as well.
yeah, Reservoir, and Hawes Road and Zions Church Road. Well, Zions Church and Hawes are the ones that the Conservation District did.
Okay, and those are also the roads you're gonna be replacing the culverts in, and then following through with the dirt and gravel.
Yeah.
Awesome, okay, now I understand the whole picture, thank you, sorry. And I think unless the H&K update, I completed my list unless there's any other questions on any codes, zoning, et cetera.
Any comment?
No.
No? All right, thank you. All right, fire service report.
Jared's at a structure fire. He texted me on my way over. He's gonna be late.
Okay. On to Roadmaster.
Yucky.
Well, last month you were playing around with a lot of ice and slop and spreading a lot of salt. Breaking trucks too, that would seem to be the theme last month. But we made it through. at least as far as weather-wise, we made it through. But I did just mention that LTAP was out counting the roads and stuff, so we're waiting for those counts to see what those come in, to possibly go for grant money for that road work and stuff. Other things is, the truck 5 status or international, that's been sitting over at Route 61 now for almost a month. Are we gonna fix it? We gonna scrap it? We just gonna let it sit there? And so, because when he gave the quote of $12,811.86, that was, at that time, there was parts in inventory. He has no idea if there's parts in inventory anymore and stuff. Because it said limited inventory for all the parts he needed. So, we could go now, and if you say yeah, we could go now, and the parts money will not even be available and stuff. So, we have to have a plan and a backup plan.
We tried to get a hold of Charlie Parrish. Did
Yeah.
you ever get a response?
No,
Did you
never.
call down to the District 5
Never
office
got a response.
from either of them? As far as maybe getting a used PennDOT truck?
And the issues that come with them.
Well, what's the, is that truck worth putting money into?
Well, yeah,
I mean-
because we can't go without it for the next 2 years.
Well, no, I realize that, but is Route 61 the company that should be working on it, or had you talked to Savage at all?
Savage does not have a heavy mechanic in there. They actually send their work to Route 61 to get work done. If they are backed up out of Fogelsville at Lowland Moore. All they do is oil changes in there. That's why before I even started here, they shipped the stuff over to Route 61, because there was no heavy mechanic in here. And instead of paying $200 an hour, we're only paying $125 an hour for mechanics. And so, if you want to go somewhere else, he will gladly hook it up and haul it somewhere else for you to get a quote and stuff. I have no idea what the hauling rate's gonna be and stuff. He's even debating about charging his storage fee, because he has nobody else that goes and sends a truck in there to get looked at and then says, oh, we're gonna wait and see and stuff. And, you know, he's tying up space. The parts are all over the place now. He tried putting on pallets, but who knows to say that our parts don't even go missing, especially if you move it to another location.
Ben, how many miles are in that truck?
26,000.
So it's low miles.
They never
It's
get
20
out.
years
So-
old,
so
26,000.
So I'm here for the first year now.
So,
What's the capital budget for asset replacement here? Is there one?
the only thing I hear is there's the equipment fund. That's the only thing I know of is an asset fund. And so,
Okay,
Well, and the thing is, we have money that we will give for liquid fuels, and we can use a percentage of that.
20%.
And since we're not doing roads this year, that could go towards a vehicle, but then we buying a used vehicle, or are we buying a new one?
well,
Yeah,
I
the
thought
new one you're
you're
gonna see.
gonna write a grant, ask for a grant money to buy a truck.
When the LSA grant comes
Yes.
up, that was the earmark for you local,
Right,
not the state. The local is the
Yep,
one
I get
for
you.
the
Seven
Berks
thirty.
County.
right.
Right.
So what's the timeline potentially on that?
The timeline for that is not until summer. Does that grant open?
Okay, but when could we possibly know that we are granted the money?
The last that I heard for the last LSA round would be September, they would do the awards. So it's a big delay
So,
of last year,
So
so
September-
2024's.
so if you ask for grant money this spring or summer, we would know in September or October of this year or not, 25?
Next year.
Of 26.
Mhm.
And if we ordered a new truck, it would be another year after that,
It's a long,
Two.
it's a
It's
long
2
lead
years.
time,
2 years.
yeah.
Yeah. You work on trucks.
More than a little.
Yeah.
do you want to work on it?
21 and 22, I was actually involved on my job in purchasing. And I think it's pretty common knowledge is how difficult it was to get trucks, any size, from, 2,500, F-250 on up. And I imagine it's improved, but I'm thinking that the lead time is
Last
pretty
year-
big.
Last year, when I quoted chassis out, International was 14 months out, Freightliner was 18 months, Peterbilt was 2 years, and Western Star was 8 months.
And how
That was
much-
the lead time.
How much was the chassis? Just the chassis?
165,000,
Mhm.
and that was for an International. That wasn't even Western. The Western Star was 185,000.
Was that just for the
That's
chassis?
just a cabin chassis.
The truck body not?
No. And then the upfitters were a year and a half out at that point.
Yep.
So they couldn't even really give me a definite price. They could give me an estimate on the body and stuff and the upfit, but they couldn't give me a definite price. So that's why we're talking at least 2 years for a brand new truck.
And to replace that truck spec for spec, close to it, you're talking 250, 280?
I have no idea.
Well,
'Cause
yeah,
we were-
yeah, you're
because
gonna
we were
spend
spec'ing-
100,000
We were
on it.
spec'ing a bigger truck. The 550s alone are 100,000, so I'm gonna say, yeah, 250,
Okay.
275.
So here's my position on this. This is my opinion. We have a used truck. We spent $18,000 on it a few months ago.
Well, in the last 5 years, we spent $50,000 on
Okay,
it,
but.
in the last 5 years.
Okay, but we spent 18,000 a few months ago. This bill's 13,000, all right? To go buy another truck, you're gonna spend 100,000, and we don't know what's gonna break on that. It could be the same issues.
Well, the used truck, yeah.
Yes, a
Yeah,
used truck,
yeah,
yeah, so I don't know if that's a wise investment.
So,
I mean, I don't,
Well, you flip a coin no matter
even if we
what.
have the money in the account, we're gaining interest on it. The interest will gain more than the cost of this, repair. So my opinion is fix the truck and then wait for a grant and order a truck. Then we know what we have. Now, there's new trucks available out there. It might not be exact same spec or whatever, that are leftover models or like the ones you found that was ordered but was canceled. You know, there's options out there.
Yeah.
I just can't see going out and buying another used truck, spending more money, and we don't even know what we're gonna get. We could have breakdowns too. It might be a winner, it might be a loser.
Well,
And it's not getting used that much, so it is what it is. I don't know if we have an option. That's my
'cause
opinion.
It's main work that, it's all rough work, because when it goes out, it's pushing a plow and beating it up. So you never know what, the plow trucks are the hardest thing to keep up
They
and
take a
maintain.
beating.
Because when you need them, that's when they take the abuse. And so, for 3 months out of the year, they get beat up so bad.
So if we can get this fixed, the whole front end's been replaced in this truck now, essentially.
Except the right side, right?
No, this is the red side.
Oh, I thought it was in the pumpkin that the bearing went.
That went out and took out, but it also messed up the splines on the right axle. Because if we had the left axle and everything on the left side redone, well, now this is the right side.
And they're sure nothing went to the left side?
They didn't pull it apart. That's only where we got, and he gave me that price. So, like I said, these were the prices then, and this was actually with the core for the pumpkin. But if they can't even rebuild our pumpkin, you know, our differential pumpkin there, it's gonna be even higher. Or if we don't have one, that means we gotta send it somewhere and sit in line to get it rebuilt. So I couldn't even guarantee this price anymore. So I have no idea where these parts were coming from. And he said, all of them said limited quantity on, when he looked them up. Yeah, so we could be looking at another 18,000, really. Yeah.
Comment?
Other than we need the vehicle, and I think financially at this point, the way it's used and the cost of the new ones, I think in our particular case, we ought to have it repaired.
Because also, the little truck, that's gonna go bang one of these days too, and be in the garage. So, I have no idea what that's gonna cost, because we're not sure what's making the noise yet in it.
Yeah.
So, but heck, that could be another 10,000.
Well, I agree with you guys. Get it fixed. See what happens.
Call them tomorrow, Ben, if you would, please.
I'll call them and say, hey, find the parts, and hopefully we can still find them at the same prices.
Okay. Can we put you on hold for a second? We
Yes,
have
yeah, I saw
Andy
it.
Thompson here for our annual insurance review.
I'm gonna give you a couple of things, and I have my paper here. Phillies. Let's see. This is a copy of the schedule I'm going over. I don't know who wants to look at it, but give it to my favorite guy.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Long time no see.
It's been a year. And this is 2 pages of how PERMA works, and then this is 8 pages in case, you know, somebody wants to review it. All right, I'm gonna get back here. All right, I got insurance coming up for renewal on the 1st of June. No, 17th of June. On the buildings, I have replacement costs, that's the R in that first row. And then I have no co-insurance, that's the Y. I have a $250 deductible. I'm gonna bump your deductible to $500.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Go
whoa.
ahead.
Were you here last year?
I believe so.
Okay. I did not have it in for a year. I asked Craig and he sent something to me. I wish you would have bought a copy for all 3 of us, right?
I'm sorry that I didn't.
Okay. This list here, is this the same list or is it a different list?
No, that, I don't
This
know.
should be from last year.
Well, we're not gonna race through this, okay, because there's concerns here, okay, they need to be fixed.
Go ahead.
It's not the same order. We'll go off of your sheet here, okay?
All
Are
right.
we gonna start with page 1?
Yeah, I usually do. Yeah, I'll do, and I have an endorsement that's underway with EMC. It's mainly cosmetic stuff, changes some serial numbers and a few values. So I'm gonna give you this too. And here, I'll let you have it since you're concerned there. All right, here we go. I have at 110 Haas Road. Have there been any changes here that you'd like me to make on the policy?
Is that the first one on the list?
No, one
We're
time.
down
Yeah,
here.
location number 1, 110
Okay.
Haas.
Well, can we just go through this one by one? What's the first one up there?
Is a block office building, the township office building garage.
That's the old.
That's the old building,
That's the old building,
and
okay.
that's 703,000. I want to get back to what my recommendation is. I'd like to bump the deductible from 250 to 500. 250 is a little low, and the prices are going up. Still trying to catch up with inflation.
So do you have a cost for these deductible changes?
Not off the top of my head, I can get into it tomorrow.
Well, let's do that, please, okay? And
All right.
and I'll give you my email address if you don't have it, and copy Craig and Dave on it also, right? I think we ought to look, 250 is ridiculously low in my opinion.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It ought to be
saying.
a couple $1,000s.
Well, the most, we normally don't go for a size, your size municipality, we don't normally go past 1,000. Do you want me to quote 1,000? Would you feel better with that?
We're talking about when you walked in, and it's $13,000 repair bill on a truck, okay?
Right, I got that.
We need to lower the insurance cost,
I
right?
got that.
So I think we ought to look at a $1,000 deductible, a $2,000 deductible, even a $5,000 deductible. I don't really care what other townships are doing, that's what I would like to see. a quote
Okay, all right, so
for
I'm
that.
gonna make a note here to show 1,000, 2,000, 2,500, and 5,000. So I'll get Janet to do that tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, so we're done with the deductibles, and then
Well,
you're
I
just,
have another question on this. Is this complete? These are the values they're insured for. So if the building is burnt to the ground and it costs 10% more to replace it than what's on there, we're
Okay.
only getting the value that's on this list.
no, if it costs 100% more, you're gonna get whatever it costs. If it's 200% more, you're gonna get whatever it's cost, because we have a total blanket limit of 2,506,000. See that on that first row up there?
Yes.
So if this building, it right now is insured for 703,000. And the insurance company has already looked at this and they agree it's 703,000. But if everybody's wrong and it's really $1 million, or let's say it's $2 million, you'll get $2 million because
Okay.
you have blanket coverage.
Okay. And you're gonna look at increasing that deductible also?
I'm going right across the board. I'm gonna get you an email that says,
Okay.
if you want 500, it's this, 1,000, right on up, and then you decide. So it'll show the premium going down as the deductible goes up.
Okay, thank you.
Then we have, so this location is all okay. Do you want to go down to the next building? We have this building with contents, 703 and 3,000 in contents. And then we have a 3-bay garage, and that has 154,000 on contents and 1,800 on, 154 on building and 1,800 on contents. Then this building here has 916,000 on the building and 29,000 on your contents located in this building. And when I say contents, it doesn't mean trucks or machines. They're all scheduled items. Then I have at this location a salt storage building at 104,000 and above ground fuel tanks insured for $3,900. Then I have Old Route 22 and Monument Road. There's a war memorial and a flagpole there at 121,000. And then Edinburgh Rec Park on Florence Avenue has a concession stand at 348,000. Contents of that building at 13,000. Playground equipment at 48,000, and a block stage at 52,000.
Okay, were you, who looked at with Ben?
No, it was somebody else.
Scott Miles.
Yeah, Scott.
So the block stage basically is an old building that will sit there probably for the next 20 years, and then we'll finally push it over, okay?
Okay.
That's probably how it's gonna evolve.
All right.
Why do we need to insure that for fire or flood or?
You don't. I can take it off right now.
Okay. But there's still liability if somebody walks.
You have
up-
liability, 10 million limit of liability.
Somebody walks up there and breaks an
Injures
arm.
themselves, your limit is $10 million per occurrence. So every time you get a $10 million claim and then you get another claim, that could be up to 10 million also.
Okay.
And we already have the contents insured through your line items. So it's just,
Well, I don't know what's in there, but yes.
yeah,
they
but I mean, they're
probably-
on here.
Do you want me to take that stage off?
Well, we have to decide that together here, right?
Yes or no?
I'm for taking it off.
Okay.
Well, when you're gonna send that email, I'll put that on as an option, as a line item.
Right.
Okay.
And then, because we're not gonna be able to decide that tonight anyway,
Okay.
we'll decide it at next month's meeting.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so I will tell Janet to,
With and without.
yeah, with or without, how much it is.
And also, can we get a cost by line also? With the deductible, we're gonna get the deductible, change the deductible amount to those different options and give us the line by line cost of our annual insurance, not just one number at the bottom.
Okay, so you want each building's broken out?
Broken out, yes, we
Okay,
have a cost. line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do that. You're not gonna get that by tomorrow, but you'll get it in a couple days. Then I have a schedule of equipment, schedule number 1, contractor's equipment. It has a $250 deductible. The coverage is actual cash value, that means depreciated amounts. And you want me to go down each one right now?
Was there anything that we needed to take on and off this year?
I had talked with Scott about that.
And that's
that's
the
that
piece
sheet
of
there.
paper I just gave you, so we made all those changes.
ECM paper that he gave, that was.
That's all the changes.
Thank you.
So can we get a cost, line by line cost that we're paying annually for insurance and also an increase in deductibles on this
Yeah.
equipment also, please?
Yeah.
I'm not saying 5,000, but let's take it up to 2,000. Got several options. up to
On
2,000.
the road machines?
Yes.
The road machines are now 250, you wanna bring it up to 1,000?
Yeah, the price is $1,000 option and maybe a $2,000 option.
All right, I'll do 1,000 and 2,000. All right, not a problem. Then I have an item, schedule number 2, miscellaneous tools and equipment, spare parts and tires, road signs and signposts not erected, pipe not installed, nothing valued over 2,500. So anything under 2,500 is blanket. I don't need to know what it is or where it is. If you own it, it's insured. And the total amount that I have is 12,000.
That should go,
What's your suggestion?
that should go up to 20 for blanket. Because of the pipes that we have on hand here, and like, especially with the jumping jack and stuff, because that was more than 2,500 new.
Well, if it's more than 2,500 new, it has to be on the list. If it's under 2,500, I don't need it on the list.
Well, I think we had that in for, because it was a small tool, I think that was under.
Did you
the
put it when
blanket side.
Scott was here?
No, that we had under like the blanket.
Okay.
With the regular tools and parts and stuff. So.
Okay, so we'll still leave it under miscellaneous, under 2,500 in value?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so what do you want to bump it to?
I would say 20, because we're holding more pipe on hand, we have more signs on hand, we have more parts on hand, so.
So we're insuring against, if in case it burned in a fire?
Burned in
That's
a
it.
fire, stolen?
Well, yeah,
Stolen?
if somebody steals our signs out on the road, it's covered?
No, just
Yeah,
signs that are in
just-
the
just
building.
here, just on the
not
property.
already used.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because we got a lot more signs in storage, well, heck, we have, what was it? $1,500 of just signs that just got refaced, plus there's probably another 1,500 here. We have close to $10,000 worth of pipes in here too now, which we never had before. So I would suggest up it, but that's, because we also have a lot more tools than we had too, so.
I mean, that makes sense, you know what we have here.
So, yeah, just because we've been adding to our inventory, especially the parts, especially the parts and stuff, that's, I don't know what all them plow parts cost and stuff and filters, but I'm sure that's,
Okay.
So is the equipment list of the rolling stock, is it correct?
I didn't see that. What I gave Scott, he was supposed to update, I don't know.
Well, there was
Yeah.
no, any other deletions. Yeah, we didn't really delete anything from last year.
No, we just changed it because of a lot of it was serial numbers we added, because with the mower fire and that serial number issue, I put.
There's still serial numbers missing here.
Well, did
Oh.
they get,
Oh, I don't know, I don't have time to go through. line
well,
by
because he
line.
had said he probably wouldn't get it on that sheet yet, but they started the process.
Well,
Yeah,
when you
it's already
send,
actually come.
when you send that email with the cost, can you have this sheet merged into this spreadsheet then?
probably not. I can do the minor changes, but I'm not gonna have the actual endorsement from the insurance company, because they're still working on it.
No, what I'm asking is that you got here, location building one change to township office and garage, so these are clerical mistakes is what, or changes.
Oh, yeah, that one there, it still said the meeting building, so we changed that just to the
And
garage
then
and office.
line 801,
Yeah.
item 14, 15, and 16 have 3 serial numbers here. I'm just saying, can you transfer this to this?
Can you send it along? Can you send a copy of that along in the email?
Well,
Or-
I can, but we get that printed off from the insurance company, and they haven't made that change yet. And the serial numbers, I don't even need serial numbers. If you have a backhoe and you only have one of them, and it's a 74, that's your backhoe.
When we had the fire the other year with the riding mower, ECM gave us a runaround because we couldn't give them the serial number.
Oh, that's
So-
some,
But that's why we put the serial number,
Yeah, I
because
got
we
you.
actually do, like now we have 2 mowers the same make.
yeah.
So-
Oh, well, if you have
so-
2 mowers the same make,
so-
same year, we like
So
to
we added that,
differentiate.
we also added a couple of the other serial numbers just in
That's
case,
all right.
you know, so since
Yeah,
we got that runaround.
These
so-
adjusters are very zealous about adjusting.
I know, because they drug it out 3 weeks just because of the serial
Really,
number.
God. What do you say?
So that's why we kind of added those
Okay.
just to make everything covered now, easier.
So you want me to bump that to 20,000, does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, price it out.
All right, I'll tell Janet to price it at 20. Then we have Schedule 3, which is leased or rented equipment. If you ever lease or rent equipment from anybody and you damage the machine, right now we'll pay for machines valued up to 65,000. Do you need more than that?
No, that's good.
That's good. Then I have vehicles. I have physical damage coverage. All the vehicles have $1,000 deductible on comprehensive and $1,000 deductible on collision, except for an 81 Beck trailer, which has a $500 deductible comp and collision. And here's the vehicles that I have. The 2005 International Dump with a plow, spreader, and a radio. Still got that? I have a 2008 Ford F-550 with a plow, spreader, and a radio. I have a 2012 Freightliner, plow, spreader, and radio. And a 2015 Ford F-250 truck with a plow and a radio. No spreader on that?
Yeah, it does have a spreader.
Okay, I'll put SP for spreader. And I have a 1981 Beck trailer. So that's all good.
Yep, that's good.
That is it, that completes this schedule. So what I'll do is I'll do the permit app myself from last year, same number of employees.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, so then we won't change anything.
We have another issue here.
Go ahead.
When I asked for a list of assets here, Craig had your office send this list and forwarded it to me. This was dated on February 6th of this year,
Okay,
and it has location 730 Monument Road. It says building description, family dwelling, secretary house.
That
no,
should be removed.
that's off.
It's off, finally off now?
It's off,
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
not
on
in
mine, yeah.
I thought we couldn't get that removed until the policy renewed.
No, that's off.
Okay.
Any questions before I go?
No, you're good to go.
All right, thank you very much. You guys
All right,
take
thank you.
care.
Take care.
Yep.
All right, Ben, back to you.
Also, while truck's over there, it's time for inspection on it, and also the Freightliner is due for inspection also. So all three trucks will be in the garage within the next month. So hopefully the inspection don't take too much. Salt ordering for next year.
That's due tomorrow, right?
No, Friday,
Friday?
yeah, 14th.
What's due?
The salt, isn't it due Friday, the salt order?
No.
I thought the email said the 14th.
There's,
March.
if we're going to, you mean for this year yet?
Yeah,
You know, okay, that would be, but there's also, if we're going to continue with the co-op, that has to be done by the 4th of April. But how much more do you want to order?
I don't know if we wanna put it all in the county, the way they hung us out this year.
That's for next year.
So, yeah.
We're talking about
it's-
next year.
Well, it starts October.
Next
This
season,
is
next
for next
season,
year.
25, 26 winter.
No, we got that salt in October already.
Right, but this would be for, if you want to be a member of the co-op,
Yes,
for
well,
the
that's what
coming
I'm saying.
season.
But I don't think we should just all get it from the co-op this year, the way we just kinda, everybody, as soon as they ran out of salt, we all kinda just got hung out to dry. We need another option set up right away, so we don't have to go and call 6 different places to get salt and pay top dollar for it. So,
Well, what did we get from the county last year?
300.
300?
Because it wasn't even a 300, it was like 250 because the trucks weren't full. We
Yeah.
ordered 300, we got like 250. Are we still gonna get that 100 from them?
Only if we order it.
So, because
I mean,
I
there's
know-
none down there.
I know other townships called down and said, since we had this order, we gonna get it? They told them, yes, they will have it by the end of April, but they ordered yet for this year.
Yeah, there's none down
So-
there. I was just down the other
Yeah.
last week.
So now, Our shed is less than half full. So that requires 200 ton just to fill our shed for next year. And if we went through almost 600 ton this year, yes, we cannot do just full 100 next year, since we need 200 just to fill the shed and stuff. Because that'll only give us 200 then if we need some more.
Well, you were talking about Brian.
Yes, so, but that's not gonna hit every storm or the whole township. Unless we dump out a bunch of money, we won't have set up to do the whole township for
So,
next year.
may I ask a question here? We don't know salt's gonna increase from now to next year. We don't know that.
Well, that would be with the price. They have the pricing.
What is the price?
I don't know.
Well,
What's their co-op price?
well, this is, there is no price at this point.
No.
This would be where you have to become a member of the co-op. Then, of course, if the rock salt is gotten from them, then they'll give the price.
Well, because normally you say a price before you order it, because usually it's like $75, $78.
Last year it was $75.
And what was the year before?
Right, about the same.
Like
About the
70,
same.
72.
So my question is, there's enough salt in the shed right now, probably to last till May this year. Follow me?
We got enough for 4 storms.
Okay, and we're at the middle of March.
Yeah.
I
Well, I'm
don't,
not even looking at this, I'm not looking at this
In
spring
my-
no more. I'm looking next,
Sure.
next November, December,
Okay,
January, February.
here's my
This
rec-
year's already passed.
my recommendation is, let the salt shed where it stands, okay? If
Well, yeah, we ain't gonna get salt till November, December.
Okay, good.
Is
I don't, there's
But
no
I'm
sense
just
in putting
saying,
the building.
at that point, come September, October, we gotta order 200 ton of salt to get it in
Gotcha.
for winter.
And what you talked to me about,
Is
join the co-op, buy some there, get some through the other program.
Well, that's what I was gonna bring up.
Okay,
Because he
okay.
brought up about that. My suggestion is to split it up. If we're gonna get 400 ton, do 100 from them, 200 from the state, because I know through the state, we have to take 60% of it, otherwise we get charged the storage. Or contact this other company where we just got this salt from, say, hey, since we got salt from you, can you get us a better deal for next year? You know, we need somebody to back up onto, because they can still pull that again for next year. Oh, we don't have salt. And then we gotta be in the same boat, running around and stuff. I know that pissed a lot of townships off this year, but I'm not getting
I
salt.
like your proposal.
You know,
So
but
can you take the lead to shop at our place and see what they'll quote for salt?
Greg has the info.
Okay, can one of you do it then?
You know,
And then you decide how
But-
much we need and you split the order up.
if we got it, but we have to have the one in for Friday. So are we gonna do 100 ton for them, 200 ton to them?
Whatever you think
I'd
is
stay
best.
with the 300 with the county, because you're assuming that, you know, they ran into a bad winter,
And-
and you're assuming that they're not
But
gonna
what
adjust for
benefit did we
next
get
year.
out of the county? Well,
Well,
they didn't take care of us this year, so what are we getting out of that for some?
It's guesswork, you know,
No,
unless you
no.
have a crystal ball that can tell you what you're
No.
gonna need next year, I mean,
Well,
that would be perfect.
Ben
but-
is ordering it, putting an order in for 2 places, and he has the option to cancel 40% of the order with the state without penalty.
yeah, like because usually the state's actually cheaper from what I hear. It's per ton. Now, the only
Is that
thing,
delivered?
yes, now, that's the only thing though, the state always comes out of red. And
The
this,
same place we get it from,
this year,
yeah.
and this year, everything that came out of Reading was junk. So that's why I'm a little leery to go too much with the state, but yet to have a backup and stuff, because everybody that was under the state contract got salt this year. The county was the one that didn't. Normally, the county gets from either Philly or Delaware off of barges, and no, they didn't get no barges in this year. They went with Reading and stuff. But salt came in down there and it went to the state contracts after the county said they couldn't get any. Salt was coming in, but it went to the state contracts.
So that,
So-
doing your method gives us a hedge in case,
Well, I'm looking at now, since before I was under the impression if we ordered to the county and we said 400 ton, they put us down that we were guaranteed for 400 ton. Now this year, apparently no, we just give them an amount they order salt, and if whatever we use, we use. I'm looking at, if, it seems like the state, even though I kind of a little leery of it, it seems like they have a program that if you order it, that's what you're kind of guaranteed. I'm looking at more of a guarantee now, instead of we throw a number out there and hopefully we get salt back. You know, that's my theory. I could care less who we order from, I'm just looking for more of a guarantee. If it's even going through this other company we got from, and they give us, say, $100 a ton, and say, yes, we will give you 400 ton of salt, I'd rather go with them. If they guarantee us that they're actually gonna give us salt, that is the place I wanna go to.
Would it be an issue? if
Because
there was a
we
bigger-
came down to just that one storm in here, and if we would've got that storm, we would've been out of salt. And a lot of other townships were out of salt this last time.
The only thing,
So-
ever since the co-op was in, this is the first time this has ever happened.
2014 it happened also. Because they admitted it.
Yeah,
2014,
okay,
same thing.
but as far as us
Yeah,
having a
it's
problem,
it's
this is the first time.
you know. Well, no, that's what I mean. We always had good luck with them, but is this a pass? Because the last two winters was mild winters, we didn't use much salt. We barely used over 100 tons of salt. Now this year, like everybody, was it because of the junk salt? Or was it because of all the little nuisance storms? It was a combination of everything, but it was like a perfect storm and stuff.
Gentlemen, you have to be aware that if you're gonna go with a private company, then you're going to have to bid that out because of the prices
Yeah.
involved.
I hear you, and Ben, I hear you too. I don't know if we have time to do that,
Yeah.
given that the deadline's on Friday at this
Well,
point.
yeah.
You follow me what I'm
But
saying? I still.
I would have liked to discuss this earlier, but I can't help that.
It's like
it comes
everything
out
else here,
at
okay?
late notice.
Okay,
So,
I think
Yeah.
what you ought to do is, in my opinion, we can get other feedback here, but get some at both places.
Mhm.
That way you can cancel, so we're not sitting with salt over here, you know, in the other truck bay because we have to take it.
Well, that's what, I would deal with them, get a percentage of it first, and stuff. Because now we know we need 200 to fill the shed. Well, if we get 200 and 300, well, then we get that 200 because then that's 60% already used if we get
Right,
that 200 from.
exactly, you got it down.
But we got
That's what I
that.
say you do.
And then the rest is, well, you know, or get 100 from them and 100 from them, because then we're down.
Yeah,
So, you know, I don't wanna go, you know,
I
real
suppose
sky
that.
high and stuff, but I think we should go through two instead of just one. You know,
Shouldn't even use salt.
Would a
that's-
bigger salt shed alleviate part of that problem? Because if you got four.
where are we gonna get that money?
Well, I'm just putting this out there.
Yeah,
If-
we can
if
put
you
up a
have-
1,000-ton salt shed, and we
Well,
can
that's
still
what I'm
run
saying,
out.
if you have 400 tons from the county, you could get it all in November.
Yeah,
If we had some place to keep it, that's my point.
they actually say that you are supposed to have 150% of your salt usage by November in a salt shed. I'm not gonna tie up a third of the property here to put our salt in just for that winter and stuff. I'm happy with that salt shed we have now. And so it holds 300 tons. Normally, we're not using 300 ton in a winter. And so, you know, I know just by spreading that stuff this year, I know we went through more because it was junk salt, but we can't control what we get. But we gotta have, you know, when they kind of threw their hands up and said, use it on your own, that to me wasn't right. They should have looked around and got salt for us. If we would have, since we had numbers there yet. And stuff. So that's why my suggestion is to go from two different places. Through the state and through the county. But that's, you know, if you want to just do through the county, I'll accept that. You know, since that's who we've been doing through. Because next year they can come and get a barge in and have plenty. I don't know what all the circumstances was this year. But it's just, I'd rather go with two places. You know. But, so we can do 200 and 200, or if you want to do 300 and 100, you know, I'm good with that, as long as we get 400 tons. Yeah. You know,
get that in by Friday, correct?
Not this is for next year.
Yeah,
Right, not this Friday, this is the 4th, well, the 4th of
Well,
April.
no, if we do the county,
the county, we need to get the county paperwork in by the 4th of April. So we need to submit that, make that decision tonight on that one.
But then my other suggestion was to start salt brine, which that would reduce our salt usage, but then our other problem is water, because we don't have enough water flow here. So, that's our setback for brining. Because, so that they go into the classes and talking to other townships that have been doing it. It's not in every storm deal, but it does cut down on your salt usage, and it does work. Doing the figures here, if we would brine the whole township, one way in each direction, it'd take 3,800 gallons of brine, which only takes 9 tons of salt. Right now, when you go out and salt and pre-treat, it takes 25 to 30 tons of salt. At $75 a ton of salt, that'll be savings, but that means we gotta come up with 3,800 gallons of water every time we go out.
Yeah, you're not gonna do that with a garden hose.
So, which, yeah, we can go to the creeks, pump it out, but we don't have the storage to store and stuff. We need a tank, like 5,000 gallon tank, couple pumps, pump and some fittings and stuff. Which, that would be $10,000 to $20,000, or we can get a professional system for around 50. But I figure I'm gonna try to do under 10,000 and stuff, and just partially treat our areas to see how it works and work our way up to the system.
So Ben, I'm looking at the payback period. How much salt you're gonna save versus doing the brine versus the actual spreading? Spray the whole township, all the township
If we do
roads
the whole township,
at one time?
we're gonna save about 15 to 18 ton of salt.
15 ton of salt at $75 is $1,125 savings per trip,
Yeah.
per storm.
Yeah, 'cause
Okay.
that would only be like your
Right.
pre-treating and
Right.
stuff,
So,
you know.
okay,
But there is actually some savings on the second, like when we would plow, because some spots it'd be melted off, so we wouldn't have to use salt there. So
Okay.
I don't know what that reduction would be yet till we would
and
start
how many
that.
events do you think, on average, I guess, you would go out and spray versus salting for a typical winter?
Considering you only get like 10 to 12 on an average year, I'd say 6, say half of them.
Times 6.
Yeah. Because now this year was more, but normally we get like 10 to 15 storms. But we might do more, we might do less, but that's a good average of that 6 events.
What are you guys doing in that?
So that-
All three,
All three?
yep.
That's a 3-year payback just on that low-end equipment purchase of 20,000. Before you start getting a payback on savings of salt.
And
It
that's-
take
that's
3
doing
years.
The whole township, or is that's
That's
doing the whole township,
your numbers.
6 events?
Per year, so it takes 3 years to get that paid back as an investment. It's a little on the long side, I think.
But but right now, we're spending that money,
No, I get
Just
it.
to-
No,
just
you're,
to do it,
yeah,
so.
right.
you know.
What for equipment did you guys have?
I'm sorry,
What for
Sam.
equipment did you guys have?
We did not have brine. We did not do brine, it was pure salt with the anti-skid that was mixed. So when they put it
Which is
down, it was,
basically what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
yeah, but, there were a couple years where the county and the state had the same supplier, so it was sort of similar to this year. So Matt Clay, the road foreman for Lower Heidelberg, and myself, we did all three each year while I was there. We did a bid and the county co-op and the co-stars. And split it up accordingly, and that way we had salt. Always.
Hmm.
There was some place to call an order. And if your co-stars, your state and your county have the issues again, where it's the same supplier, but we only did the county, at least like Ben said, you had the state you could depend on, went through co-stars. But because there was 1 year that there was such a, maybe it was even 2 years long, is at Lower Heidelberg, there was such a disconnect because it was the same salt supplier. We ended up doing the private bid. And that's who we ended up calling most of the time during those kind of conflicts.
And were you committed to taking that amount of salt for the year from the
Not for-
private bidder?
Not, no. Because we wrote the bid accordingly. You just have to coordinate with your solicitor to have it written. You do, and so we depended on our solicitor to write it that way. Co-stars is the 60% you have to take. The county, I don't think it's,
No, county.
the county, there's no requirement. But again, just like this year, it might happen next year, we don't know. Like you said, it's no crystal ball here.
Next year's a whole new year.
It is a whole new year.
Well, if that's the case, max out on your county and you take what you take, but just get some, go in for the state as well, and then get a bid from a private supplier.
No, that's what, it's like, I'm just trying to, I don't wanna run out, and this year we were pretty darn close to running out, so that's what, you know. And if we wouldn't have got that last stuff from the private ones, we would be out.
Well, we were out on the 15th, I told them to use it sparingly, because we saw what we had, we didn't have that
Well,
much.
if
And I used,
if that storm wouldn't have went over the rain and the two before
Yeah.
that.
oh, I know, we got lucky.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had enough.
Yeah, I
so.
know, it warmed up enough
Yeah.
that we could deal with it.
Mother Nature said, oh, you're out of salt, okay, I'll change the, you know, so it almost seemed that way. 'cause
You called in a favor.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know if it'll work another year, but.
Yeah, and Haven Salt was the one we ended up,
So-
that typically was our low bidder all the time, to give us the supply.
So
They
that's
were
why
great.
you know, I'd rather not keep it in one basket, you know. I know it's been working, but,
Do the county, the state, and a private.
And just have Russell make sure you're not locked in, that's all. No, especially if
Do
the
we need
unit
to sign
price is
that
better.
tonight?
What's this?
Do we need to sign that county paperwork tonight?
No, yeah, I can, I'll make sure it's sent in.
Okay.
And how much usage you want for the county.
I'm gonna do 3 and
I
1.
was gonna say, let's do 300 through them,
Three and 1 with the state,
yeah.
and then we can just get a bid from,
Cause that way,
she
we can
suggested
get,
Haven, or.
if it comes,
We'll go out. We'll go out.
what we can do is, we
Yeah.
can go, if we do that, we can take the 100 from the state right away and put it in the shed, you know, and that we know we're done, and then we just rely on there, and then if it comes
And they
down
need
to it,
some.
we can go to, you know, if we do the third one, then we can go that route if it comes to it, and so. I'm hoping it's not that much next year, but
Yeah, that was.
you never
insane.
know, so, you just don't know. But, you know, so,
All right.
that's, fire extinguisher inspections due now too, so I'll call Dean Dalius. And, our flagger training is up for recertification. When we went, we actually got missed, we missed a rotation and stuff. We were with Richmond and Perry Township when we got certified the last time. Well, Perry was busy, so we missed a year. And then last year, without telling us, they went with Honolulu Township and got recertified. And Richmond got recertified with Maxatoni Township. So now we're sitting here by ourselves. To get recertified.
Are they still doing it down at Albright,
No. No.
through PSATs?
The closest one is Lancaster for this year and stuff, and that's in October. Now, we had gotten Jared the last time, and we were down with Perry and Richmond to do us. So I don't know if you wanna get him in just to do us, you know, since it's only five of us. Yeah, 5 of us. And stuff, and do it here, or what?
Everybody's out.
Because
Try it out.
we all got certified at the same time and stuff, so.
Over here.
Okay. Any comment on it?
We gotta get on your schedule.
No, we're gonna do 2 suppliers, right?
Well, no, we're
No,
talking
no,
about
we're-
Flagger.
Yeah, we're talking
Oh.
about Flagger.
You were sleeping.
No, I'm looking at these bills.
No, I get Flagger recertified.
No, go ahead, it
For the
needs
road
done,
crew.
it needs done.
I'll coordinate with you then and get these and do it here.
Yeah, because I need to get everybody here too, so. And also, I had a call today from Mike Quick over at Tilden. They were getting mulch in, full trailer load, but he thinks he's only gonna need half to 3/4 of the load. He's definitely not gonna need more than 3/4 of the load. And since the other year, we took their leftovers, he said if we'd be interested in it. He said, right now, the full trailer is 90 yards, and it's $2,250. So whatever that breaks down per yardage and stuff, he said, whatever they don't use, they'll sell to us, and then, like, as the yard, you know, whatever the yard is.
Yeah, we did that last time,
Yeah,
because it needs it in the park.
so, because I know that was in with the grant, the recreational grant and stuff, but that didn't come until later, so we need to at least put some in to kind of make it look full, so.
When's that gonna happen?
He was gonna call either this week or early next week and see when they can get it. So,
Did you get it from Hawk Valley?
I'm not sure. He said he called around and that was the cheapest. I didn't ask who he's getting it from and stuff, so. So, but he said that was the cheapest, and then he said since we took the rest last time, but he said it is cheaper to get the trailer in instead of the triaxle. He said, even though he knows you don't need the full one, but that's why he called us since we took the rest the last time. He said, yeah, I'll bring it up tonight and let him know.
How much was it again?
$22,250 for 90 yards. So whatever that breaks down per yard, whatever we get, the stuff, so.
I don't have a problem with that.
Cause
We
like,
have $4,000 in the park.
cause like half a load would be like 1125 would be like roughly half a load,
Yeah.
you know, but we're not even gonna get that, so. So I'll call in and
Looks like 25 a yard.
stuff, so.
Yeah, we have $4,500 in the park account anyway.
So, yeah, that's all I have now.
And Ben, I just want to say that email of your report, that was really nice.
Oh, thank you.
It was well put together, and it really helped at tonight's meeting. That's my
I
opinion,
tried
so.
to
I hadn't
prepare.
seen that before, so.
Yeah. Thank you. I tried to.
No, that was great.
All right. Any other comment? No. All right, is there anything else that we need to talk about at the park?
Roger's here. I don't know if he has any.
He just gave us a card for.
You didn't have anything for the park? Any update for the park?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'd like to,
Yep.
just a couple things. Last year, the baseball team that comes in and uses our park, our baseball field, there was a rented, somebody was renting and they were playing and they had to share the bathrooms and there was a conflict. We give it to you guys. I don't know what to do about it. We only have those bathrooms. They gotta either share, you know what I'm saying?
What was the conflict?
Well, they didn't like that they were rented, that the people rented the park. They had a big birthday party there. They didn't like the idea of the baseball mothers and fathers and kids coming over and using the bathroom. They had to share the bathroom even though they rented the park. So, we didn't have that issue before because we had bathrooms down under the stage that the baseball people used.
Okay.
So I said, I asked them to be here, but I don't think anybody came.
Well, when they
So
rent a,
that's, just think about it.
when they rent a pavilion at the Hamburg Park, they're renting the pavilion. They're not renting the whole park. Everybody gets to use
So
those
the bathroom
bathrooms.
goes with the pavilion.
Yeah, but the bathrooms also go with the park.
Okay.
So everybody's gotta use them.
I
That's
don't
what we
know.
have.
bathrooms.
And they sort
Yeah.
of had the peace flag up and everything was fine. But, they're saying there is no other way to do it as far as I know.
Yeah, they're gonna have to share.
No,
Okay.
you're redoing your.
Another thing is,
Yeah.
Sorry.
I met a guy up at Leisure Lake, they put up a new pavilion and they put up these bird spikes. They do not hurt the birds or anything like that. That's the card that you have there. That card that it's written on, they didn't have the spike card, the business there. They're from Kempton. And if you want to go up and look at it at Wanamaker's, you can go back in there and go to that landing where they can, well, there's three places. There's Wanamaker's, the one on the other side of the church, and the one back at the mound. If you want to see the pavilion, it's up. They had the bird spikes on it to keep the birds out. That's, I did not increase the park rental rates, because I never heard nothing back from you guys, so. Okay, and I already
That's
had
gonna
some
be
calls.
revised before
Okay,
next
the
season.
125 and 50.
Yeah, that'll be revised before
Roger,
next
hey
season.
Roger, just so you know, the rates will be going up for next year. Okay, so
Okay.
when's the appropriate time for you to have those numbers? And there's gonna be a new park agreement
Well,
also.
I need to know it by the end of this year, because I'm already booking in January for the ones, especially reunions.
Right, so you need to know by
that book it
December,
every year.
December of 2025. You need to know by December of 2025.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Then in the new years, when I do the new
Right.
calendars. Okay, and Ricky Bowles, do you guys know Ricky Bowles? He lives on Willow Street down in the corner there on the left.
Yeah.
He has twin sons down there, and the one son, well, Ricky asked me if we had any voluntary work, maybe some paint, and I guess the boy got Lyme's disease so bad, the one twin. And he's wondering if, I said there's liability there, I have to talk to the supervisors. So that if you have voluntary work or want to pay the young fellow, I think he's about 21 or 22. They're both in college, but he's not in college right now because of his illness. They asked me to ask the supervisors if there would be work available. And he does voluntary work, but I said, you guys got to check that out. Okay.
What kind of situation does that put us in legally?
You mean to hire?
As far as liability or, I mean, if he wants to come in and paint picnic tables or something like that, if he wants to paint the picnic tables or whatever.
I talked with him, he was with Ricky, the father. I talked with him, he's all with it, he seems slow. And he talked to me and he said, you know, he did volunteer work for this one and that one, and to give him something. Ricky the father said, just for him to do something. If he would come up with something, you know.
What's
I
his
don't know.
Limes.
What?
Limes.
Does that create any issues?
Are you gonna have him volunteer, you're gonna have him be paid? I mean, if he's an employee, then he's covered by workman's comp.
he's a volunteer, I suppose not.
You think you could ask him to come to the meeting?
I asked Ricky if he would. He
So we could
didn't.
meet him?
I can ask him to
I think
come.
that would be, I think that'd be the best way to handle it.
You'd like to see both of them, Ricky and the son, or just Ricky?
I think the first thing needs to be done, he needs to fill out a
I'm
job.
hard-
He needs to fill out a job application if he
Oh.
wants work, okay?
Okay.
That's the first thing, I don't know
I'll
what
pass
the needs
this
is gonna
on to Ricky
be. Yeah,
and-
that's after the job
I'll tell him.
application.
I'll
Gets-
tell him to try to be here.
Okay,
Next
we'll work
meeting.
with Ben on that,
Oh, that's fine.
yeah.
One last thing is, the guys that are gonna clean, I guess that I never met you guys, and I need to talk to you and help you out, and I need your phone number, name, and, Ben has a calendar that you will get. And I will call, every time I get a booking, I will call you. You will pull that calendar and I'll give you their phone number and who it is and what time they want it open, so as much information as I can. So we'll get together sometime. You know where I live?
Nope.
You know where the car wash is in Edinburgh?
Yes.
If you're going toward Hamburg, I'm the second house on the right.
Cash is going towards.
Right across from the car wash is just a field. The first house is Linda Fink, and David passed away with the Finkies, and then I'm the second one on the right. A two-car attached garage, white house with blue shutters, 2716. It's right on the house. Sometimes stop in and we'll go up to the park. Ben will get you keys. That work.
Yep.
Remember, there's some
Yep,
keys.
I gotta check that.
That's all I have.
Just don't scratch the new door. You can beat up the locks, it's not the new door.
Did those ever get
Okay,
paid on?
any questions for me?
That's the green.
That's in the grant.
Then I will be dismissed.
All right,
Thank you, Roger, have a good night.
Okay, you betcha.
thanks,
See you
Roger.
guys.
Who's the one that's updating the park
I just want to finish
agreement?
it.
Because if he's
Well,
saying
when I
that,
put my secretary hat on, okay, to start the clock, yes, I am, okay?
but I'm just saying now that he said about the shared bathrooms, maybe put something in the bathrooms are for public use, just so it's in there. We're revising the agreement, you might as well put it in there.
You're right,
Right?
yes, I agree. I agree.
Kids.
Exactly.
But I'm just saying, if that's.
No salt, all it does is rust my cars.
Oh, Harry.
Yeah, I heard him say don't consult him.
Because the minutes are gonna start coming.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thanks,
guys.
Right, thank you.
Good night.
All right. All right, Jared, you wanna go ahead?
Yes. All right. I had sent an email this morning to all the municipalities with a monthly fire service report. For the year-to-date, as of today, is 192 for the year. We've had 2 working structure fires here in the township in the last 2 weeks, both with minimal damage expenses. On both of these, that could have been really severe. Also, we were recognized along with Port Clinton Fire Company for a QRS call that we had in their borough, which resulted in a life save with the application of the tourniquet and a critical bleed call that happened. They actually had to do an onboard. They had a critical care truck come in and meet them at 61-222 to onboard blood to this patient. So we were recognized by that by Muhlenberg EMS for that this week. We closed out last year's emergency reporting, and we've now migrated into the new reporting program software, First Due, which now logs our calls, the responses, and all the data for the NFIRS reporting guidelines. So we've been working through that. Just bear with us. We started working through it. There's been some issues with the program that we're working through, as well as the other departments that are using it in the county. So data is a little skewed right now, but come the end of the year, we always have it together as we do. So we've been hosting multiple classes here with the annual hazmat operations. We're doing fire dynamics, attic fires, fire strategies and tactics, and attic fires this month. We've had over 50+ members from neighboring departments that have been participating on this series set that we're hosting through Bucks County Community College. We're working with new businesses in Hamburg and Tilden on adding Knoxbox programs. The new run card formats have just come out with new call types. So with that, we're redrafting the new call type information on the data responses for the 3 new call categories that have come out. So we're working with PDS on that. Windsor for tonight, we've added on the agenda for the requesting of the boundary adjustments following our meeting that we held just with adjusting run card boundary lines for this building and the properties just up to Witchcraft. So it's a small little addition that they were just shifting from Virginville's boundaries over to us for key access information, and that was provided to the supervisors on the new mapping that they'll have to approve tonight, and that data was sent over. New rescue truck, we're gonna have pre-construction meeting next week. It's gonna be 2 full days going over everything on the new rescue with our manufacturer as we start the design phase. And it's going over the spec by build sheet, and it's very, very labor intensive, so we're starting that. Field house rentals are continuing to come in, so thank you everybody for their support. And we do have a bowling event on March 16th at State Street Lanes. They're doing a fundraiser for us. So you sign up, and then we're getting a portion of the sales back, so. And then also on the EMA reports, I'm going to be starting with all the municipalities, the annual EOP update, so those will be starting by the end of the month. So I'll be working on that and getting those over for approvals. And we have submitted also to you folks our year-end stat reports with our breakdowns, the call statistics, and the breakdowns per municipality. So I had attached all that in an email today to you folks. And that is it. So it's been a very busy month. It's been a busy 2 weeks. Sunday we ran 9 calls alone in 6 hours. And out of that we had 2 working fires, structure fires, so we were hustling. Sunday was a busy day, so.
All right, as far as the remapping and that stuff, from what I can see, this isn't really what we talked about in executive session.
That's exactly what we talked about.
You know, we talked about this building.
No, Mark and I had the conversation with everybody while we were there, and his recommendation was the boundary line was up to the intersection, and that's what we agreed to in the mapping, and that's what was adjusted to.
I'd like to hear that from Mark in person. We had talked about having a meeting in April anyway, an executive session before the next
We
meeting
need
at
to respond to the
6:30.
email that was sent out.
Excuse
That
me?
was done on his recommendation.
Well,
We sat there and did it in the meeting.
We have an executive session scheduled for 6:30 on April 9th.
and, well, I'd like to table this until that executive session.
Well, it's not on your agenda for this evening anyway,
Well,
so
I don't understand how it's not on the meeting date when we sat there in the meeting and had the discussion.
we talked about the Knox box for this building.
And the boundary line is reflected by that per DES.
Well,
And with Mark, we sat
this
there.
is what cooperation is all about.
But
That's
you're
why
not
we're getting
cooperating,
together.
that's the problem.
No, we're not doing what you want us to do.
No, it's not. We had, Russ, we had the meeting. Jerry, we were all there.
Yeah, we
And
had the
agreed to
meeting,
it.
but we agreed to this building because of the Knox box.
that's my recollection, was that we talked about this building because,
And that was it.
and I think that all the chairman is looking for, Jared, is to get, confirmation from Virginville. We already have a meeting scheduled, so.
And he's gonna
To
have to
do that
sign it
next-
anyway.
But we also need a response in an email that it could have been coordinated in emails. So we're delaying it by simple responses in emails though that we can also have.
You knew we were having this meeting in April, Jared.
And that's why we scheduled the meeting when we met in January. We scheduled the meeting for April 9th at 6:30. So it will be discussed, and then, Craig, if you can make sure this is listed on the agenda for.
It is on the agenda under fire service report.
It's frustrating for me where we take the time to work through this. We're working through everything as best as we can. And I hit roadblock after roadblock with you, Mr. Mazika, in this process, time after time.
Well, how many times have you come in here and wanted to change stuff and do stuff on your own? That was another thing that I wanted to say about tonight.
It's not on my own.
We have this agreement with the county, you know, we can also change this to make it, there was a couple suggestions from, what was her name, from the county, that we make this strictly changes approved by the supervisors only.
Well, and I don't think,
I think we're going backwards.
Jared, I understand your frustration, but these gentlemen have to review the information and make a decision, and
No, I understand that, but we did that though. And my frustration is that in a meeting, we did that.
well,
I'm not trying to push over the supervisors.
but the supervisors have indicated that they would like additional time to review this and discuss it with the other fire company. End of story.
No, well, hold on. Here's another breakdown. This map that I'm being handed, where did this get produced from?
Yes, I didn't make it.
No, that was on the email that you sent?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
put on the emails.
All right, I just wanted to make
It's
sure.
not skewed data.
Okay,
It's data that's been
so
distributed.
we had this email for what, a week now?
Yeah, but you had that information though for longer.
Right, no, that's right.
Yeah.
So you looked at this email, Dave,
Sure.
and you didn't agree with it,
No,
but you didn't
Because-
respond to that.
because I don't, why should I respond? You know, you keep saying about everybody's getting charged for emails and that stuff. Tonight's the
Well,
night,
look at the bills.
tonight's the night we're talking about it.
But I'm not charging the township for
He's
an
not-
email.
I know that,
you,
but
not you.
I'm not making a decision on my own either. That's why we're here talking about it.
I called the Virginville Fire Chief today
Yes,
and asked him if that shaded material that's yellow was what was agreed to by both parties at the executive session, and he said it was not.
He
So
made the suggestion. If he wouldn't have made the
So he's-
suggestion, I would've
He
left
told
it
me
the way
it was not what was talked about.
okay.
So I think this next meeting in April would be
get
imperative, so
straightened
we
out.
can all be on the same page.
I mean, if we don't, so we do two things, just so you guys are aware. If you wanna move it back to what you agreed, I will gladly do that. If you don't agree that it should go that far, we're only talking, what is that?
Don't do anything until we sit down with all parties and talk about it. That's cooperation.
Okay.
Any other comment?
No.
I have a comment here. There was a concern when I stood up here last time when both fire companies were here, and I asked for a circle of a map, okay? I would like a map produced by somebody to lay down in front of me to say the area that Virginville is covered, and then I want somebody to tell me what percentage it was, because the percentage that was presented to me, I think was highly inflated. And that's gonna go into next year, which I will take care of myself, but the funding's going to be adjusted to percentages, right? Because it doesn't seem to me, for what I see, doesn't seem to be fair.
Which map is that?
There was, when you were, when both fire companies were here, we were talking about some of the issues. There was a map on the wall up here about the coverage area. And I did not think, when I asked the chief from Virginville what the coverage area was, he drew a little circle down here in the corner. So I wanna, it's not, I don't have a dispute with it, I just
Yeah,
wanna know
was
where
trying to
that.
think of which map you were talking about, because there's so many maps that are floating around.
All I want is, you can take this map and tell me exactly where the
I
boundary
mean, I
line.
think what you can do is if you go to DES's website, which I know I've sent multiple emails over with those boundary lines that are now,
Okay,
it's out there, it's on their website.
well, I don't,
It's the same one that
I
we've been
personally
using.
don't need the
So,
map.
yeah.
What I would like to know is, Hamburg's covering this percentage of the township, and Virginville's covering this percentage of the township, based on
That-
square
that-
miles.
Yeah,
Whatever that number is, that's what I would like to know.
that would be an email that I think would be back to, DES, which would be on that email chain with either Christina or Brian Warner, I think is who's doing that. And it's just data, and they can pull the data SKUs, it's off they'll take the overlay, run the boundary dismissals.
Well, that's something down the road that
Yeah,
we're going
yeah.
to work on. But that doesn't have anything to do with this, it's per se.
So if I skewed it, then I apologize, but like I said, the data was brought up at the recommendation of Mark. I don't understand how, from then until now, we've now changed it 5 times, but I will do what you folks wish, and
Well,
it just takes a lot of time to do this information, to get the data, to get the stuff generated. Like, it's a lot of time that it takes to do this the right way, so.
Well, and I appreciate that, I appreciate what you do, but, you know, like I said, the whole reason we're kind of doing this is because we want to see more cooperation between both companies. And they will be coming to us with they're dealing with their personnel issue, that will be brought up at that meeting as well, at our executive session, their solution to it. Any other comment?
The only comment I have is, just to put it on record again, when both fire companies were here was the first time I met Mark, and I haven't seen or heard of him since. Before or after, that's all I have to say.
Do you want his phone number? You can call him and talk to him anytime.
Well, he could come to a meeting too and express some concerns. Make himself present, that's all I'm saying. I have his email address.
All right. Yeah, feel free to call him.
What's that?
That's Virgin Jill's chief.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, feel
So I
free to call him.
understand the name.
All right. Moving on. All right, solicitor, Mr. Farbiar's.
Okay, I want to start with H and K. So I have for you the land development improvements, installation, maintenance, and security agreement.
No problem.
And so,
There's one for me.
I'm sorry.
Does Craig need to keep an extra? Is that why there's so many?
There's so many so that we have more than enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Craig can keep extras
Okay.
for signing, but I always make 7, even though I know I don't need 7. So I have attached to this all of the required exhibits, one of which is a copy of the letter of credit. So we do not have the original letter of credit. They have asked me, or I should say completion bond, we're using a bond, not a letter of credit. So they've asked me where to send the original, and Craig, I don't know where you want that to be sent. Whether you want it, because they'll probably send it by FedEx, and so I don't know if you want it sent to this building or if you want me to have them send it.
Send it to this building. Everything come through here.
Okay. So I will direct them to send it here, and then that needs to go in the vault.
Yep.
So that it's preserved.
Right.
What I would, I don't know if there are any questions on this from last month, but my recommendation would be a conditional approval, in the condition being receipt of the original completion bond. What are you looking for?
Oh, say, there's the plans. I have the bond. This is
Tabulation.
the tabulation. This is not the original. Okay.
And it matches. 'Cause they
That's
said-
the new amount. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. No, this is separate from the O and M, the BMP O and M.
Yeah, I have that, that's,
Okay, you're just doing one
I'm
at a
just
time?
doing one at a time. So we also will have the BMP, the stormwater controls and best management practices, and then the holding tank maintenance agreement coming next, just so you know what's coming.
And we did confirm with Steve Hoffman from Great Valley that Exhibit A is the current plan set.
And that's the one dated, what date?
February 7th, 2023.
23.
Yeah, it has 3 revision dates, so the last revision date was November 13th of '23.
And that's the current plans that we have been emailed and a copy was given to me?
I don't know what was given to you, but I would assume so, yes. These are the plans that were conditionally approved. So this has already been, just for context, this has already been, was recommended for approval with conditions by the planning commission, has been conditionally approved by the board. The condition being the completion of the improvements agreement, the stormwater controls agreement, and the holding tank maintenance agreement. And so this is longer than it usually takes. It's usually not, a year and a half later.
But they delayed too.
Most of that delay was on them. And so we're now at a point where they've met all the requirements and the conditions. So at this point, it would be appropriate, based on the prior action of the board, to proceed.
Well, then I'd like to make that motion that we approve the land development improvements for H&K Group, pending the improvements agreement.
Well, pending receipt of the original completion bond. And I'd also note that Mr. Long has a conflict, and has recused himself from this entire process, so he's not eligible to vote on this evening.
Okay, well, I'd like to make that motion. Do I have a second?
Well, since we're gonna, I have a concern here. It's my understanding that is one continuous property. It's not subdivided where H&K is proposing to put the cement plant, correct? It's a lease agreement.
It's a lease agreement.
Okay, so the property's all intact. We have activity going on at that site right now where the son/nephew has encroached on a residential area, which, based on this letter that we received today, I don't know how we can do anything with this until that issue is resolved. Because where is he going to put his stuff if we grant this and then it goes through zoning and it's denied? So I don't know how we can do anything because it's all one property. It's bound together. That issue has to be resolved first.
My understanding is it's two completely separate parts of the property, and that they're
It's
not
all
related.
continuous. It's one property. There's nothing subdividing that. There's no lines. The only line that's going through there is the residential line versus the industrial line. He encroached, well, he went over on almost 3 acres of the residential side. So I don't know how we can even consider this until the other thing's done, because if we approve this and then he's gonna cry that he has no place to go, that's gonna be his hardship. So it's gonna put the zoning board in a position, what are they gonna do? So I don't know how, I can't support this until this other issue is resolved.
That's your prerogative. I will advise you that if the developer has met all of the requirements and you don't approve it, you open the township up to litigation.
I am not denying it. I didn't say I was denying it. I said we have to get this other issue resolved first.
I can't guarantee for you that the other parties will see it the same way, and that they won't file what's called a mandamus action to force you to, because what if this takes another year and a half to resolve?
So what's the party that has that construction yard going to do in the meantime?
Which party are you referring to?
I'm talking
referring
about
to Jameson?
Jameson.
I have no idea.
Well, that's a concern here, isn't it?
It's an unrelated project.
I understand that, but it's occupying the same property.
I'm not here to advocate for that.
I'm not here denying that, I'm
Yeah.
not denying their proposal. What I'm saying to you is, and that just didn't happen overnight. And, there's parties involved here that's been doing this for 40 years. There's reports all over the place. There's enormous bills we're paying for engineering firms. we should know the system, okay, how it works. So it's encroached on a residential area that was zoned way before that activity took place as residential. So that has to be resolved. So how does that get resolved?
Well, my understanding is that, and I spoke with Attorney Cole, who represents Kaufman Roush Family Farm, and my understanding is that it is their intention, to resolve this. And what's indicated in here is that they're gonna need some additional time, but I don't know what the resolution is. I don't think they know what the resolution is.
So we proceed forward with these improvement plans. And the partnership approaches the zoning hearing board and they say no, where's all that, his stuff gonna go?
The zoning hearing board can say it has to be removed from the property.
But we need that, but I don't wanna box them into a corner. And that's what we're doing by approving this.
But they're asking you to approve this. They're signatory to this,
No,
Kaufman Roush.
No, I'm saying to you, if we allow it, the zoning hearing board is boxed into a corner. He's gonna say he has hardship, has nowhere to go.
But Jerry, you've already allowed this. The board, before you were on the board, has already allowed this. So the time to decide whether or not it should be allowed has passed. This is mostly, at this point, administrative.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm saying since then, there was additional activities that took place that were not per the zoning in township.
Well, then,
I think we have to table it till that gets resolved.
well, there's a motion on the table to approve it. Has there been a second, Mr. Chairman?
Is there a second?
I'm not seconding it.
Then the motion dies, then you can make a motion to table it, and I would imagine that you want to table all three agreements, not just this one.
That is correct.
And so then you can make your motion.
I make the motion, we table this until the property that is being occupied as commercial use on residential land be rectified by the zoning hearing board.
Mr. Chairman, there's a motion. Is there a second?
No.
So then we're at an impasse.
So this is, like you said, it's administrative. It doesn't mean that the thing's gonna go forward. It's just that H&K has all their ducks in a row.
Well,
And Jameson's gonna have, well, once
I think
everything
it's gonna, I think to say it's not gonna go forward, they're giving you a completion bond for $352,000, so I think they're serious about moving forward with the project.
And regardless, Jameson's gonna have to take care of his issue out there,
Right.
depending on what the decision of the board is, the zoning hearing board. I mean, we're not boxing him in the corner. He may be able to put in there what he wants, or he may have to clean it up, but that's, whatever they decide is gonna be on him.
And
He can actually move to the other side of it.
well, that's what I was just gonna say, Ben, I don't think the lease area takes all the land up to 78.
No,
I
it
don't
doesn't.
think so,
No, it
so
don't.
there's the other
There's room
side.
between there and 78, yeah, he can move down there, he's not actually boxed in there.
So
There's
he
room, there's still room there, he can,
He can move
shift
out of the
that.
residential zoning into
Yes.
the industrial
yeah,
zoning, right, by 78, and the lease area stays intact.
And I think to some extent, I hear what you're saying, Jerry, but I think to some extent, the township is now sort of getting into what could be a private dispute between the landowner and.
It's not a
Let's-
private, no, it's not a private dispute. He violated the zoning in the township.
But you're saying that the issue is, well, he might not have a place to put it. That may or may not be true, but that becomes a disagreement between H&K and Kaufman and Roush, not necessarily the township.
So let me ask you this question. There's all kinds of debris, junk trailers, old fire trucks, old fuel tankers, okay, whatever, that's sitting there. We grant this. H&K wants to start construction in May or June. You said it might be a year and a half before it goes to zoning. Oh, no, okay.
Yeah.
So where's all that stuff gonna go in the meantime?
I don't have an answer for that because.
You see, it's not.
It's not, but it's not my responsibility to know the answer to that, nor is it your responsibility at this point. The zoning and hearing board could direct that it be removed from the property. You know, it's a violation, I mean, you know.
So Pam, let me ask you a question. Based on that note that Ryan sent out today, the violation, and based on this letter, I need to read again. Is there gonna be more stuff added to that residential area?
My understanding with Ryan's NOV is all of that additional storage should have stopped.
So there's
When
gonna
he
be no
talked
more
to-
added,
Again, this is my understanding,
Okay.
talking to Ryan, who talked to Jameson, so I'm telling you, it's a trickle down. I'm just telling you what I heard, that he directed them, no more on that section, no more new stuff. Because there's been, so much complaint, and it's
Mhm.
in a current state of an NOV. Now you have an NOV, you have an attorney filing, a letter saying we're going to go to the zoning hearing board. Now, it's almost like it's at a standstill, right? He shouldn't be doing anything on that property, because she's put a stop pole, is that what it's called?
Yeah,
In other words, that letter's sort of time out, Jameson, time out. Don't do anything until you get to the zoning hearing. That's my understanding of what Ryan was trying to get to step back, not have anything more done until the zoning hearing board made the decision. That's what I expect this to happen. That was Ryan's goal, and I think your direction, get it to stop and get a solution.
so there's gonna be no more stuff added to that site.
And
is
we
what-
could
that's-
have Ryan actually send a follow-up NOV letter saying, per the NOV, no more. And you go on record. That would be my suggestion, go on record. And then we could copy Mrs. Colt. And that you said this is at, a public meeting. And if you want that letter written, Russ could write it, I could write it, Ryan could write it. But I think to close the gap, it's probably something that should be done. Or close the loop.
my suggestion would be that it comes from the zoning officer. but-
Ryan, you want Ryan to write
I
it?
think that it-
Sure.
with copies to myself and
Okay.
to Attorney Cole and to the board.
Sure. And that's just the residential section of the word.
So we have another concern here.
Is that the royal we, or is there another person in that we?
We, okay, we. We're taking the position that's been approved. I'm taking the position that the applicant presented incorrect information in the approval process, and the engineer did not share that information or notice that information. I'm not an engineer, but it's pretty clear if you look at the plans.
What was this, Great Valley? a set of plans.
Who,
that you-
who approved these plans?
Not SDE.
Okay, I didn't say SAP, I'm saying, I don't know who approved it, well, I think Steve Hoffman did, right?
Steve Hoffman, a Great Valley, that's your planning
The
commission
planning
engineer.
You guys might all wanna come over and take a look at the plans to see what I'm talking about here. There was a variance given for a water drawdown study on this property.
Was it an actual variance for the water resource study? Because there is
Excuse
a
me,
copy.
there was
I think it was a waiver.
a waiver.
Yeah, variance.
There was a
and
water
waiver.
resource study done.
Mhm.
This document's dated January 23, 2023. This plan is dated not even a month later, 10 days later, okay, or 20 days later. If you look right here, this is Monument Road, this is Old 22, that's the corner. They showed they're going to put a lab building here, we're gonna turn the page back. It shows they're drilling a well right here, and then they did a drawdown study, is what, you wanna look at this, this is what those circles mean. Draw down contour feet, and this is the area it's gonna draw down. That's the study they did, right? That was presented. On the plan here, they show a well right here. If you look, it says W, water supply area, that's over here. The W line says proposed water line. UE is proposed underground utility, electricity. They run this across here over to this building. They did the water drawdown study right here. This plan shows the water coming from over here in this well. So if the plans were approved, they're wrong.
No, since that was signed and sealed by a TG, a professional geologist, we could always contact them and have him relook at the relocation and if it would change his report in it.
I think we need a drawdown study. This
You see what I'm
opens,
saying?
this
That's
opens this all back up again.
But that's, in other words, it's signed and sealed by a professional geologist, so you need to go back to that individual.
So who's
It's my
paying, is the applicant gonna pay
The
for this?
applicant
the
pays for
applicant
all
pays for that.
If you have a question on it,
You see it doesn't match.
yeah, but Jerry, it could be that it's close enough, I'm just saying, it could be
No,
that
no,
it's close
no.
enough. I'm just saying, it's up to him to certify, to redo it again,
But they're showing the two different locations.
yes.
If there's a well here, Craig, is there a well right there?
I don't know, I don't really spend much time down there.
Okay, well,
I
if
I
the map
know
shows.
cows, I don't do anything down
I
there.
don't, I'm just looking, I don't know if there's a well there or not, but it shows a well over in this corner. So the water drawdown study, it's got to be redone.
Yes, I'm saying.
But the
you can
the
request-
hydrology study needs to be redone.
Yes, by the professional geologist, correct.
Now, Jerry, I'll point out, the original plan date is February 7th, but there are 3 revisions after that.
Where's the plans?
I mean, that's what's attached here.
Well, they should be in the office.
I'm sure they're in the office, but my
Can you give the
my,
plans, the correct
I
plans?
give you the plans.
Well, they're telling me they're not the same plans.
well, what I'm telling you is that they were revised 3 times after that February 7th original date.
So can you pull up page 8 of 20?
If you're using my magnifying glass. So this is page 8 of 20.
And it shows the same thing right there.
I,
You can see the circle and you see the 2 lines going across.
yeah, I'm not saying, I didn't know what it said, I just wanted to make sure that,
No,
okay, that
well,
was accurate.
I don't know what changes were made, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, if this is the latest version, this is dated, where does it say revision? Up here,
On the cover page, it shows.
11/13 of 23.
Yeah. Your eyes are better than mine.
Well, I have no problem writing a letter on the behalf of the supervisors to, it looks like Val Britton. Is that who's sealed?
Well, before you do
Yeah.
that, why not contact Steve Hoffman and get his take on it?
You can. This was, I mean, again, this was sent in, you know, when you have a professional geologist certifying it, it may be that it could slide a little bit and there's
Well, at
absolutely
this
no
point-
change. But I know you don't know that, so what, so
And
the
once-
biggest thing is to
Once
have
the
it.
water goes over here, it doesn't even show the water going to the storage tank that they say they're gonna use. I mean, this is very incomplete. There's lots of issues here. I understand. I mean, if
We
you're,
can take-
my concern is if you call,
We can, we can
we
contact
need
Steve.
to recoup your cost to call Steve Hoffman, and Steve Hoff.
All is being charged to H&K.
Okay.
Everything Russell and I do.
Okay,
After the meeting, all that time spent with all of the different things, you saw the emails, the multiple attachments of documents, that is all being billed to H&K. It's not the ratepayers of the township. Because it's their project, it's not the township's project.
Pamela, I'm gonna just say this, and I don't want, there's nothing personal about this. Plans are not shared. Everything's in the back room hidden, right? And the people are citizens of the township, are elected to these offices. They're paying the engineers to trust them to do everything. They're rubber stamping everything's going through. The drawdown study, there's 10,000 gallon of water per day being drawn out of the well. They're,
67.
if you divide it by 30 days in a month, okay? But
67 a day.
6,700 a day.
if they pump on Saturday and Sunday also. That's the way it's presented.
Okay.
So if you take 10,000 gallons a day times 20 days and divide it by 30, that's how you get to 6,700.
Well, what do you want me to do?
I think,
Whatever you
well,
want
I think
Russell and I
they
to do.
need to submit plans that are correct. And where the water's coming from, and this opens the door.
This is the one issue, this is just the well, because we're gonna take it if there's other issues of concern you have, but this is the well we're talking about.
The well.
Okay.
We're gonna do a new hydrology study, we're gonna take the water over there.
Do you want me to contact Steve Hoffman first
Sure,
and assign that to him?
if that's who's handling it.
Well,
He's
that's,
the engineer for the planning.
He's the planning commission consultant.
and he
So
was the one that reviewed the plans and reviewed this report. And Craig, is this your report?
And he may know something different about it.
Yes.
Because
And as far as the plans not being presented to the public and that stuff, you got the opportunity to go to the planning commission meetings. All this stuff is discussed there. So you can't say that the public
Okay, here's
is
what,
not
Dave,
attuned to it.
Dave, the requirement is when an applicant submits plans, they're supposed to submit, I have it here somewhere, 8 sets of plans.
You know, we
What
usually
are
get
they,
7 or 8.
where do they go?
So they go to the secretary who maintains the records.
Okay.
Usually there's an electronic copy that's sent to Steve. They're available, you know, to the supervisors to review. Any member of the public who wants to review them can submit a right to know request. And they can be disclosed.
Russell, we're gonna move on from this, but if we're asked to review something, okay, or approve something, approve,
Mhm.
I need to know, I'm not rubber stamping like you said in one meeting before, I don't rubber stamp. I need to look at what I'm approving, that's it,
I'm just.
okay? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the plans, Pamela, we need the water issue straightened out. We need more details what's gonna go on site. It shows the water going to the lab building, but they're putting water in concrete, at least I'll draw a line for that. There ought to be some details here what's happening. It's pretty vague.
Hold on, I'm making my
Okay.
notes so I can
Okay.
make sure that I cover everything
Sure.
with Steve, all right?
Right. Another issue I just thought of.
We mentioned a tank, too, Cherry, something about a tank.
Yes.
I'm a note taker, so I just want to make
Okay.
sure I get it.
And then
exactly.
it shows an access road to go into the residential area too, that needs to be eliminated.
Okay. Access road to residential district, right?
Could there be a reason that that access road was put in perhaps for fire?
Well, yes, if you look at the PennDOT HOP plans, there are, the main access for the H&K lease area is the big access to the property, and that everything else was supposedly then, if I understand, how is that, abandoned, closed, however the PennDOT term vacated. All of the rest of the driveways to be vacated, except I believe the access closest to 78, but I can verify that with Steve Hall.
No, I'm talking about the one internally, not onto the Monument Road, I'm talking about
Right, but in
internally.
other words, to use that property, there's no access
Oh.
to Monument Road.
Okay,
So because PennDOT said, PennDOT,
Mhm.
safety person, I only want one access to that construction use.
Okay.
Okay? And you can still have your farm, you know, to get your tractor to the
okay,
farm,
okay,
which I believe is closest to 78 from what the aerial,
okay.
that's the farm.
That's what that's for.
That's what that's for.
Okay.
So everything got closed down for safety. So that access, that's how I'm looking at it, that access is to have whoever's doing work on, whatever they're doing on the residential
Mhm.
section can get out to Monument Road.
Okay,
What that use is, we will find
Okay.
out.
okay,
Does that make sense? It's a
Yes.
safety issue.
right. Now, since
So I don't
this,
think it can get
so
closed.
since these plans were misrepresented to the public and planning commission and supervisors that we're gonna correct, I'm not saying we're opening this back up, but I do have some concerns that were never addressed, that were said at prior meetings, all right? One was,
So let's go back to the access road.
yes,
I really believe it's staying there because of the PennDOT limitations.
okay, okay,
Okay, I can confirm that with Steve,
okay.
okay?
I understand Old 22 and Monument Road are both state roads. The public expressed a lot of concern back in '23 about trucks and trailers pulling out, a higher volume of trucks and trailers pulling out of Monument Road on Old 22. Tom Unger sat right there and said he was gonna look into it.
Mhm.
No one heard anything.
And if you remember the emails that we circulated, we queried Steve Hoffman about that. There was no traffic impact study required by PennDOT for the driveway.
Not the driveway, I'm saying pulling out from Monument on Old 22.
Yes, a letter
Line
was,
of sight issues.
yes, we sent a letter to PennDOT, there was no response.
We don't have the jurisdiction.
I understand that.
We sent a letter,
Okay,
and I can
understand.
forward you the letter.
Okay.
No response,
Okay,
crickets,
okay.
crickets.
I'm just concerned, you know, we talk about liability here all the time.
Mhm.
We have a question in the audience.
I did bring that up with the planning commission, and Ryan said PennDOT doesn't care,
Okay, well, I'm just so we know
even though
what's,
I care.
okay, I understand.
Well, that matches the lack of response to the letter we wrote.
Okay, all right,
And that letter probably would have been before you were supervisor, so.
Yes,
I could
I believe so.
I could send you a copy.
That's fine, it's
But in other
fine.
words, for your record, so
Okay,
that you know
okay.
Tom and SD did
Okay.
something, but we can't force PennDOT to.
I understand.
Okay.
So that brings me up to the other confusion I have here. And I remember Dave talking about this extensively, and I did not understand what was going on.
Okay.
If Monument Road is a state road,
Mhm.
why was, there's gonna be some new culverts put under Monument Road, I believe.
Mhm.
Why are we responsible for those pipes then?
And that's part of the developer's agreement, that they're gonna own and maintain those pipes in perpetuity. H&K is going to own and maintain those pipes. Because the township did not want to own and maintain those pipes, so H&K is gonna install them and maintain them.
Well,
But what
technically,
PennDOT-
Councilman Roush,
Yeah, okay,
as the landowner,
okay.
H&K has the responsibility for the duration of the lease. But that's why these
It's
agreements.
a complicated agreement.
It's a little bit more complicated than usual because you have a lessee.
But bottom
But
line, the
bottom line-
township is not responsible. But PennDOT always has for drainage, not driveways, drainage, the municipality be the permittee. And let me repeat that again. Drainage. on a state road, cross pipes, PennDOT will always have the township, borough, whichever, as the permittee for that permit. So you have two permits. You have the driveway permit, which is H&K Kaufman Roush,
Right.
and then you have the drainage permit, which is in the township's name. But Dave Mazeka was very clear, we are not maintaining. So that got communicated to Russell, who put it in this agreement. So in perpetuity, that's gonna be maintained by H&K and/or the property owners.
So if there was,
Not the township.
so if that property wasn't changing at all, who's responsible for that pipe right now, currently?
There's no pipe.
Oh,
Yes,
there is no
is.
pipe there
Yes,
now.
there is. There's one pipe there, and they wanted to put two pipes
Yeah,
in
there's
side
two
by
here.
side.
There's
There's
two
an
here.
18-inch in now, and they wanted to put two 24s.
Well, what changes that? Why does that change?
That's up to them. That's what PennDOT wanted them to put it in.
Okay.
So, but there's an 18-inch pipe right there right now. So,
And it's with the state road, PennDOT typically says it's the township, but it's a fight in every municipality, as Dave knows. And Hamburg and Tilden, like Quick, they all struggle. All our public works people struggle. Because it's a PennDOT road. Right?
But they're adding another pipe on that they don't need, somebody else needs it.
Well, when you go for an HOP, yes.
And they don't wanna
Penn-
be held responsible
Mhm.
for it, neither do we. That's why it's written that way.
But again, we protected the township by putting it
Okay.
into here.
Okay,
All right,
so you're gonna contact Steve Hoffman,
I am.
and we're gonna get new sets of plans made.
Well, anything that's relevant to the hydro study, the well, the water lines, the tank, right?
That's right,
Okay.
and we're gonna request since this is now reopened up again, we are going to request a drawdown study,
Yes, that was the first thing.
because that's gonna be paramount if we're gonna move forward with this.
Right.
What do you mean by reopened up?
The plans are presented incorrectly to both boards. And presented, and the way it was presented was, there was no need for a water drawdown study, and it's conflicting that there's already a well there, and they're pulling water out of a well that's already exists, so why didn't they take a drawdown study on that well?
Is that a proposed well or existing well?
The map shows it as existing.
Okay.
So are you, when you say a drawdown study, is that the same or different than the hydrology study?
The hydrology study is different. A drawdown is gonna actually take a well and pump water out. And then typically if it, it's a bigger project, they actually then will monitor different wells, what they call within that drawdown area, to check if they're affected, so that their levels go up, down, or stay the same.
And this has always been a concern of the residents of the community here.
So what,
For some reason, somebody on their own decided to let that go.
So,
and there's a circle in the hydro study that says no impact, and that's what Jerry's saying. So within this radius, it's
Okay.
saying no impact for the well on the H&K leased area,
so.
right? Is that what
Correct.
you're saying?
That's
Okay.
correct.
So procedurally, what you're suggesting is that you want to rescind the approval that was given, which I think is problematic because I have no issue.
The plans aren't correct, okay? They're not correct.
I understand that. I understand, I don't have any issue with you requesting clarification. But if what you're asking is essentially to have this redone, I think you need action from this board to rescind the approval and send it back to the planning commission. And I don't know that, I would encourage that you really strongly consider that, because that is likely going to open you up to some sort of litigation from the developer, who's gonna say, we have an approved set of plans, you've approved it, you can't now.
I'm not approving it. it has to be done correct. It was not done correct. That's what I'm asking.
Well, and I'm just trying to clarify,
You
because.
keep saying I'm not gonna approve it. It's a permitted use in that zoning. That is a permitted use, and if the plans are done right, I will vote for passing the plan. The plans are not done right, the water study wasn't done, it was passed over. The residents are very concerned about this. We're gonna make the requirements, like everybody else has to meet the requirements. They're required to meet the requirements, in my opinion. Once they meet the requirements, then we will proceed forward.
Why don't I do a timeout and see if this is the compromise before any motions or anything else is made? Let's see if the hydrogeologist can come back and draw the same conclusion. I'm not saying he will or won't, but what if that happens and then the plans get revised, but there's still a no impact zone?
We have to do a water drawdown study, in my opinion. All right? What happens if we approve this and they're taking, and you read that, if you read this
That's my
report.
concern, if he's asking for a drawdown, not just the new study.
If you read
That's
this
where I
report
get
right
worried.
here,
That's where I get concerned, is that.
if you read this report, they talk about, and I read the whole thing,
Mhm.
they're talking about taking 10,000 gallons a day, but if you divide it by 30 days, it works out to 6,700 gallons per day. But they're not drawing on Saturday and Sunday.
Mhm.
So they're doing an average per month, but per day it's 10,000 gallons. My concern is that's a lot of water. I don't know if the neighbors are gonna be impacted. If they're impacted, then what?
Well, again, that initial study was done, they looked, you had the tables of all the different wells.
Right.
Okay, and they drew the conclusion, no impact within this radius. If we ask Steve to ask the professional geologist to do 10,000 gallons per day, okay? But he comes up with the same radius of no impact. Would that be satisfactory, or are you still then, Russell, that's why Russell and I are looking at you, are you still looking for a drawdown? Because that's something now new. But if we're just amending the study and amending the plans to truly match what's in the report and then match the plan to the water, the well, the right well, the lines, the tank, so that it all makes sense. But if the PG comes to the conclusion that the 10,000 gallons per day still has no impact, what is the impetus to then request the drawdown? We need to understand.
At this point, the trust has been broken with me, okay? You follow me?
Right, but I'm just trying to
Wait,
get to
somebody can
where,
open that up on their file on their computer, just move it all over and say, good, all right? If it was that simple, why didn't they adjust the plan 10 days later? This was done 10 days prior to this plan.
they're always done that way.
Okay, but I'm saying to you,
It's always
they don't
done, yeah.
even match, okay? That's my concern, they don't match.
Mhm.
So there's a trust issue with me,
Okay.
that they just move the lines and say, good enough, right?
It's their seal. It's their professional
But
geologist.
if the residents in that area don't have water on a dry year, and they've always had water, what's their recourse in this? What's our responsibility?
Again, I'm just
Everybody
trying-
wants to throw the word lawyer and sue around with me, which I don't care, but what are they going to do to us? We approved a plan, we didn't have a pass on a drawdown study.
So I'm just trying to get what you want Steve Hoffman to do, because a revised study is totally different than a drawdown.
I understand that. If they want to do it, ultimately, in my opinion, from looking for water, I question that, how they know where that water's coming from. Okay, that's me. All right, that's me questioning. I don't understand that science.
They should be here anymore.
But what I'm saying to you is, the drawdown study is a factual number. So if they want to draw some new lines in the map, so be it. I think we need a drawdown study. And that picture shows there's a well there, so go put a generator there and turn the pump on and start pumping.
You asked if there's a well. Well, there was a well there when the cement plant was there in the first place. It had to be.
I don't
Well,
know.
I'm telling you, there
Okay.
was a well there
Okay.
when the cement plant was there before.
Okay, so that's where they're pulling
Okay.
a lot from.
All right.
Yeah, it's not that they're gonna be doing anything different that they haven't done in the past. They put the cement plant there when they redid 78.
There was 2 of them there.
That was, yeah, that was Balfour Beatty.
How can we
Last
do a drawdown
I don't think we can.
if the hydro study was accepted, but if we get the hydro study amended for the right amount and right location, and the PG still seals it, that it's,
Well-
he's saying it's no impact,
Instead of going in
Understood.
circles, why don't we just table it for 1 month and get a hold of Steve, point out those things,
Sure.
and have him get back to us in an email. I'll vote to, I'll go along with, tabling it for
Table.
1 month.
Okay.
But we're not gonna drag this on forever.
but you still want me to talk to Steve about contacting the hydrogeologist too?
Well, see what he has to say first.
Okay,
You know, he may have some insight on this,
okay,
how it was all set up, because he's the one that's dealing with the developer.
exactly, exactly. And the developer's engineer, right, which is actually an HOK engineer. So we need, you put possibly a table motion on.
I'll make the motion that we table it for a month until we get more information from Steve on this issue. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay,
All in favor,
so,
say aye.
Aye.
so that the previous table that died, now
Yeah.
it's revived, it's
Yes.
revitalized, it's alive.
So we
and
don't
it's
need to
good.
go through any more of their stuff?
No, no,
So this
You need
is,
these back?
you can keep them if you'd like.
Okay, just wondering.
Just because it has all the exhibits now.
Yeah, I didn't know if you needed them back or not.
and then the holding agreement and the BMP we can bring back next month, right?
They already have that.
Okay.
The improvements agreement, the only difference is I added the exhibits because I wanted them to have a complete set
Okay.
this evening.
All right, so my job on this is contacting Steve Hoffman.
Okay. I don't have it. That was really the major thing that I had to do this month.
All right, and that takes care of the holding tank and the storm water, which is tabled till next month as well.
Okay.
Jeff, while we're at it, do you have any issues with them?
With
With
that,
those 2 agreements, the holding tank agreement and the stormwater control agreement? Let's do this all at once.
I thought we just tabled it.
No, well, we basically tabled the land development, but there's a holding tank agreement that we were gonna,
Well, I think we're
Go
tabling
over.
the whole, we're gonna table this whole thing until we
Yeah.
get this part resolved. is
but
what you
but my
said.
point is, do you have any issues with them, so we don't go through this next month?
I haven't reviewed them.
Yes, you have. These are
These are the same forms?
Yeah, this is, we went through this last month.
Okay,
It's the same thing.
okay.
And you had questions, and we had Scott McCaffrey send,
Okay.
put emails, we answered
Okay.
that question in the emails between these 2 meetings.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not saying I have anything for it, but we're not gonna start approving piece by piece by piece till we get all this resolved.
No, I think what all Dave is asking is if there's issues that you have with the holding.
I don't have any issues with
Yeah.
holding tank.
Okay.
And the
then-
BMP,
and then
the
the
stormwater.
The BMP, this you've also seen, this is more or less out of the ordinance, it's not. The only modifications we made were just because this is a unique situation where you have a lessee and you have a landowner on here. But otherwise, it's pretty boilerplate.
That it? Thank you both. All right, the 401 plan.
That has been submitted, and the deadline date for companies to submit their plans would be the 4th of April. And there have been 2 PSATs and a company I don't have it with, but another, there will be 2 of them that are going to submit applications.
And when we get that back, we'll,
Yep,
Send them to
and
Russell
that's
for
the
review.
the last day is the 4th of April.
all right. All right, for old business, on to new business, the insurance review we did.
I just want to ask a question here. When old business is on the agenda and we talk about it, nothing is acted on, does it just fall off? Is it still not resolved or addressed?
As per what?
So, a couple of the things we had on there last time, which I don't have an update on, was the unclaimed property. There was two two unclaimed properties, did we look into that or not?
I looked into it, I couldn't find anything. I can keep looking.
You can't find where it's on the website, there's,
I will continue to look at it. Is that gonna be satisfactory?
okay. We'll just leave it on there then, because we'll keep looking at it, okay? The park rental agreement, I will take care of. The other thing was, Craig, could someone show you how to, before you send the documents to the IT individual, to change it to PDF so he posts those as PDFs?
I will make sure I remind him of that.
Okay. That's it, Dave.
All right.
So one thing that's on your list, Jerry, that was the records management.
We're gonna wait till next year to handle that problem, okay?
Okay,
That's my opinion here, because it's not gonna get done now.
I just wanted to know, because then I won't continue to look at it.
No, don't do anything with it.
Any other comment on that? All right. We'll wait for Pamela to come back if she had anything to add to the Zedenberg self-storage. Salt purchase we took care of. Any other concerns, comments? No. Well, we'll wait for Pamela to come back. Go through all these.
I have some questions, just, yeah. When she comes back, we'll go through that too. Well, before she comes back, deluxe, there's an invoice for deluxe here. Is that for checks?
Say it again.
Deluxe. Is that for checks?
Yes, these are checks, yes.
Did you run out?
Yes. Had to get new checks.
Okay, because they charge $61 for overnighting.
Right.
Okay.
You're back just in time.
Sorry, I had,
That's it. All right, we're on Edenberg self-storage. Did you have anything you wanted to
that was the
talk
one
about?
that was the one I brought up under my report, that
Yep.
there were two self-storages. Finally, I got unconfused. Edenberg, the small one, is the one that I'll have the cost estimate reviewed. I know that one's very close to being signed, right?
Well,
Approved
what-
and signed,
The plans,
yeah.
yes. I'm just waiting, once you do the CCE, then I can do the improvements
Okay,
agreement.
so my CCE review will be done next week. Okay, I have the signed and sealed construction cost estimate, which I was missing. So now that I can complete that.
And they're working on an improvements agreement?
Well, once I get that from Pamela, then I do the improvements agreement.
Okay.
Because most of it really is about the costs.
Then there's a little bit of storm water, not much in the
Mhm.
estimate, so there may be a new BMP or modification.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
probably do one.
All right,
Yeah.
if there's no other concerns, I'd like to make a motion that we pay the bills. Do I have a second?
I have a question regarding the bills here. I'm looking at the statement of income and expenses from February. Under engineering, we have $5,522, okay? This month, we have a total of $10,517. So it's $5,000 higher. On the invoices here to be paid, we have a check here that already went out, it appears, for $7,065. And then we have another check here for a total of $6,710. So there's some, the math doesn't work here.
Okay. The cost or the billing from System Design for the month of December, it sat there, and because of the organization, that's why there's an extra bill, because
Okay.
that was the month of December.
Okay,
So
So-
now we have gotten invoices, you know, what we have paid out of this year was for December of '24, January and February.
Is that the first one on this list?
Yeah,
So that's, okay, so that's $7,065. And that's the first one on this list. That's December's?
No, I think that's January.
that's,
Last month, we had an invoice for $55.22 that was paid. This time, we have an invoice for $7,065, and we have another invoice here for $6,710. So do we know which one's which? And whatever it is, even still, the two numbers don't add up to the 10,000 though.
what it is when we get an invoice from System Design, some of it is for engineering, and others is for zoning. It's broken down in different categories.
Meetings, zoning,
You know, code enforcement
projects, right?
and all of
So
that.
it's not all in that column.
Right.
And then you have the planning commission where Ryan attends,
Yes.
which is separate from engineering. So you have various categories, and that's why there's so many invoices, so that we can break everything out for you, so it can be itemized into, I'll call it the account, the codes of account that, the 300s and the 400 series, so the expenses of the 400 series. So Craig is able to align it with the particular code that matches for the auditor.
Okay,
But there
so,
was a month missed that was paid, and that,
December.
was it paid late February?
Yeah, we
For
got the
December?
email, yeah, we got the email in February that it was
Yeah.
missed.
okay,
Sorry if that didn't make sense, but there was a disconnect, and we always send statements, and they were wondering why December's was missed, so we caught up with Craig.
okay,
Okay.
all right. I'll second the motion then.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. No reason to go into executive session?
I don't have anything.
Can I go back quickly to the equipment amount for the,
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had it with me, but after you get your new check, pretending that this MS 965, the new check's deposited, your equipment balance will be 131,000 and change that you could spend in 2025.
Okay.
Right, Craig, that's, so the report we filed in '24 accounts for the
Right.
deposit for the 2025. You already got the 28,000 turned back, you're waiting for the.
$168.
168, 168? Yeah, 168 total, right. So 131 gets you maybe the chassis?
It'll get us a new little truck if we need it.
Yeah, that's-
So, I mean, it's
we could-
there,
we
it's
could
not-
get that into it easy.
It's not a lot, but it will help.
Because we don't know what, because if this turns out to be needing a motor in the 550, you know,
And you can use liquid fuels, Jerry, for, that's not necessarily new equipment, if you could fit it into, there's a category for the major
maintenance-
repairs.
Maintenance, yeah.
No,
Maintenance
major
and
repairs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maintenance.
major repairs. You could fit it in there and not use your equipment money. We could confirm that with Jerry, but it's still, I mean, it takes out of the liquid fuels the overall amount, which your total for 2025 would be 334,000.
Yeah, and we still hold that 350 in reserve.
Yeah.
Find a show special at the convention.
Okay, I was paging through, and I
Yeah,
just
well,
wanted to bring that back up,
Well, you
that
know,
you
it's got
do.
stuff up there.
Yeah,
The
that,
last couple of years have been thin up there, so those
Yeah.
trucks that they had up were already sold.
Yeah.
It was,
going.
All right. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.